Reno has a reputation, and honestly, most of it comes from people who have never lived here or that damn awful old TV show Reno 911. And I hear things all the time like, isn't Reno just a dirty old casino town? Isn't Lake Tahoe only for rich people? Or actually, it's not even part of Reno. You really don't get 300 days of sunshine. I heard it's windy all the time. So in today's video, what we're gonna do is we're gonna bust some of the biggest myths. And if you're thinking about moving here, this will give you the truth before you make any decisions. As always, we got our trusty friend Sydney over here, who everybody at this point knows quite well. So thanks for coming on as always.
Thank you.
And let's go with myth number one about, is Reno just a dirty old casino town?
Formerly, sure. I mean, in Reno's early days, absolutely. Casinos dominated the economy up here for a long time, similarly as it did in Vegas. And now we've kind of started growing out of that, and I think we've been doing a good job of it. Casinos are not the dominant force anymore.
No, and I think for a lot of people, what happens is, when that show Reno 911 came on, I mean, it was funny, but it was stereotyping the hell out of our market. And I think for a lot of people, it's like anything else. When you go visit a city, especially for Reno, so if people come to our downtown, they go to the casinos, they're just gaming or gambling or whatever it might be, and they never get out of that little small area down there, then, people have their opinions. It's funny, some of the comments we get in all of our videos about some of the things that people talk about our downtown area. And what's funny is our downtown video is one of our most watched videos, but that's kind of an old narrative. I remember when I first came here to go to college in 1989, that was probably somewhat true. And we were very dependent upon gambling. We were very dependent on casinos. And a lot of the places now that have casinos and gambling, it didn't have it then. So a lot of people would come from Northern California, come to Reno for the weekends, and I could understand, but that is long gone. And why is that? What would you tell people that really is more of the narrative now than what it was then?
It's tech. Tech has been coming here for quite some time now, and the Trick Data Center out on USA Parkway is only expanding. It's only getting bigger. It's growing. It's brought a lot of jobs here, and it's really helped our economy shift out of that old mini Las Vegas feel into a more kind of booming and diverse economy.
And I think people here locally realize when the Great Recession happened in that 07, 08, 09, and we realized how dependent we were on tax revenues from casinos and gambling, we made a big effort to change the way things work here. And what's funny now is a lot of the people that come to visit here, they're not coming to visit the downtown or the casinos. They're coming for all the amazing outdoor activity. So, I mean, is that what you're seeing?
Absolutely. And a lot of the people who are coming here to potentially work for a lot of these bigger companies that have come in, they don't care about downtown as much as they used to. Right. People want to be outside. They like the outdoors because oftentimes they are coming from California where outdoor recreation either doesn't exist or it's difficult to get in. It's expensive. It's far away from where they live. And here, I mean, you really couldn't be much closer to it.
And with that being said, we don't want to talk negatively about our downtown.
Not at all.
It is much improved. It is much better. There are lots of people who are living down in those areas now. That whole midtown, downtown area has gotten dramatically better. Is there room for improvement?
Sure.
Of course there is, like most downtowns. And it's always funny when we get these comments from other people who want to talk poorly about our downtown. And I keep asking them, well, where do you live? Where is this amazing, mythical, perfect downtown in any city? And so I just think that myth of what it used to be versus what it really is, and it's still improving and getting better. I just think that's a really old narrative that people have to understand. So if you're thinking about coming here, talk to us first about that, or go check out our video that we did about downtown. It's really awesome. So the second myth is people, one, want to act like Lake Tahoe is not part of Northern Nevada and Reno, and two, that it's just crazy expensive up there for everything. And for certain things, like if you want to live up there, whether it's an incline, it's going to be expensive to live up there. But you can do a lot of things at the lake for either free or almost free.
My friends and I, especially when we were in college, just summertimes, you're a broke college kid, you don't really have a lot of money anyway. We went up to Tahoe all the time. Most of the time, depending on where you're going and what you're trying to do, you're paying for parking, and that's about it.
Right.
We bring coolers, we bring the chairs, you get up early in the morning and you just go up there, get your spot, and stay there all day. Or if you wait till kind of off-season times or in the late afternoon, you can still get up there for relatively inexpensively, or by then, the parking lots aren't even charging you anymore because the big mad rush of people has already come through.
Well, and that's the thing, is people want to complain about how it's so crowded and so busy. If you go up there on a Tuesday afternoon, I've gone up there, there's no one there. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. You can come up, especially in the summertime when the sun's out till 8 or 9 o'clock at night. I think for locals, the parking, at least where I like to go to Sand Harbor, I'm pretty sure it's $10.
Yeah.
The Shakespeare Festival's right there. You can get inexpensive tickets there. But it's just funny how we'll do videos about this and they want to say, well, you're Reno, you're Sparks, you're Northern Nevada. Tahoe's a whole different place. I'm like, it's 30 or 40 minutes.
It's right here.
It's right there. It is definitely a part of why a lot of people live here. And just because we don't live at the lake or are permanently, residents up at the lake, it's kind of one of those myths where they just think everything up there is going to be crazy expensive. And yeah, if you want to buy houses or property, you can find some little townhomes or condos or things that won't be crazy. But for the most part, it's expensive to live there. Myth number 3, and this is a big one, weather and climate. And it's funny because people talk about, I think they're surprised how nice our weather is. But the one that always drives me the most crazy, everyone wants to talk about, it's windy all the time, 100-mile-an-hour winds every day. It never stops being windy. And then it's just smoky, fire smoke everywhere and all that kind of stuff. And you've lived here now your whole life. What would you say to that?
That is a strong misconception that we have.
Yes.
It is a little bit windy here, sure. I will absolutely admit to that in the afternoons, we do get a little bit of a breeze. And I will tell you this, when it is summertime and it is dry outside and it is 90 degrees, that afternoon breeze is the greatest thing you've ever experienced in your whole life. At least in my opinion, I won't say that for everybody. It is a little bit windy, but the crazy winds and high winds constantly is not accurate. It typically is bringing weather from California over to us.
Okay, so you just spent your 24th summer here.
Yeah.
How many summers can you remember it being crazy fire-smoked weather here?
A few, sure. A lot of the time it's coming from fire in other areas. So we get smoke from California, we get smoke from Oregon.
And we're talking a week here, a week there. I can think in all my summers of staying here, there was one summer, a handful of summers ago, where it was smoky for months because there was massive fires in California. But that's another narrative that's not really that big of a deal here. And then I know we talk a lot about on this channel being 300 days a year of sunshine. And I'm sure if we talk to some state meteorologist or climatologist or something, maybe it's slightly lower, slightly more. I don't know what they qualify as a full day of glorious sunshine to add to the 300. But for the most part, even today, we're filming here. We're, in October, November, you get in that fall time frame. Monday and Tuesday of this week, we didn't see the sun. It was cloudy. It was gross. It was ugly. What is happening for the next 10 days?
Sunshine. And it's to be, we went from cold in the 40s and now we're going to be pushing days in the 70s.
Exactly. Water-wise, snow-wise, how much of that do we get?
Not a ton. It's pretty uncommon for us to get rain. I mean, Monday, Tuesday was early in terms of weather for us in October. We get, I want to say it's 4 to 6 inches of annual precipitation on the valley floor.
To 10, but it's not much. And again, the snow, because again, people come from Northern California or Las Vegas, or people that don't get snow. I can think of, 2 times in 37 winters where we had so much snow, like you wanted a snowblower. It was massive. Now, the closer you live up Mount Rose Highway, the more you get up in the elevation, you get over 5,000 feet, you're going to deal with more of that. But the myth of having crazy weather here, I think, happens because on occasion, we will get 80, 90-mile-an-hour winds. But it's like anything else. It's like saying I don't want to live in the Midwest because I don't want to have tornadoes, or I don't want to live in Florida because of hurricanes, or I don't want to live in California because there might be a giant earthquake. It's like, it's not really going to be something you have to deal with.
Well, and speaking of Tahoe and the weather, I think a lot of the time people think we get insane winters because they're looking at all of the stats from Lake Tahoe. When we get 80, 90 inches of snow up there on crazy winters, that's up in the mountain. That does not typically happen on the valley floor.
Well, and the example I give people all the time is our old house when we lived over off Tenaya Drive. We were a 20-minute drive to Mount Rose Ski Resort. And I can remember one year, Mount Rose literally had 20 feet of snow when the season ended in April. And that year, they got more snow than they ever knew what to do with. And at our house, 20 minutes away, we never shoveled our driveway. So people can't have to understand it's like this weird microclimate kind of thing. And so anyway, the weather here is actually really pretty damn good. So if you're someone who's thinking about moving to Northern Nevada, do me a favor. Click the link in the description below. We'll get you a copy of our free buyer's guide that'll get you started on your journey to Northern Nevada. Myth number 4 are the lifestyle and the people. And as people will try to say, there are no born, raised, longtime Nevadans. You're sitting with one. But at the same time, they'll talk about there's such an influx of people coming from other areas that basically we're just turning into Eastern California.
I hear a lot of feedback from people who are visiting here or they just recently moved here that our culture in some ways is surprising to them depending on where they come from. They're surprised at how nice we are. And I found that interesting because I feel like people should be nice everywhere. They seem to integrate into our culture really well because Reno is still very much a family-friendly area to be in. Whether it's work, you're raising kids, you're empty nesting and now you're moving somewhere else because your kids are grown, whatever it may be, people come here and they really like how Reno functions and operates, that we have the big city feel while still functioning like a small town.
But everyone works in a casino, right?
Yeah, all of them.
It's so funny because I think, especially because I spent my early years, pre-high school years, all that in Las Vegas. And my parents were divorced. We used to go to Southern California all the time. And when you would tell people in Southern California, 40 years ago, I lived in Las Vegas, they would just assume my mom was either a showgirl or a stripper.
Right.
And I'm like, no, people work in casinos, but that is such a small piece of the pie now. With all those companies that have come here, we jokingly say now we're basically the Bay Area's back office. So a lot of other companies have come here. They brought divisions here. All those companies we talk about again off USA Parkway have been here. And so it's really a big myth as far as that goes. But of the Californians that are moving here, would you say they're moving here because they hate California? Or are they moving here because they want to, for whatever reason, just retire in a more affordable location, or they're looking for more job opportunities or just a better cost of living?
It's a mix of both. The people who are still in the workforce typically move out of California because they're starting to not like the tax structures or whatever it may be that's making it more unaffordable for them to live in California. And a lot of the time it's a hard conversation to have because it's not that they don't like California. They actually are really pained having to leave California.
Right.
And Reno and Northern Nevada seems to be the option that's the best for them because they can still get back to California to see their families and have that feel of being close to home for them. Because at the end of the day, it is home for them. And as much as California is having whatever's going on, they miss it and love it.
Yeah, there's still a lot of positives to being in California. And it's just, that's the part I think that most people that are moving here, they're having a hard time giving that up. There are very few people here that are just, we hate it, we got to go. And if we never were to ever go back, and even to visit or anything, but it does get people who are leaving a lot of family and friends. It's not that far away.
Right.
So depending on how far into California you're going, I mean, we're back in the Bay Area in 4 hours. And so it's not as so much Californians coming here because they hate it. But like I said, they're coming here for the good reasons. And so we have one more myth. This was kind of an extra bonus myth that I was laughing about the other day because it's always funny. Everyone knows where Las Vegas is. And they assume, or when I tell them we're from Reno, they think either Lake Tahoe, because they only know Lake Tahoe, but they think we're in the middle of nowhere. Now, let's be honest. A giant portion of Nevada is the middle of nowhere. If you drive from Reno to Salt Lake City, there's not much in between, and that's an 8-hour drive. And yes, we have this giant landmass of a state where there is a lot of stuff that is nothing. But is Reno really in the middle of nowhere? No. We're close to Lake Tahoe.
We're close to Sacramento. We're close to Roseville. Anything up top over the hill. We're close to Carson City, Reno, Gardnerville. Reno's close to Reno.
Yeah, there you go. But I mean, the Bay Area is only a 4-hour drive away. And it's like people think that we're out in the middle of nowhere. But growing up in Las Vegas, now living in Nevada, there is a reason why the majority of the state basically lives on that Nevada-California border. Because what we're trying to do is take advantage of this giant state and this giant population base that really kind of runs a lot of the world financially. We get the benefits of a lot of the good things that happen from California, and we're trying to avoid the bad things from California. So any other weird myths or anything that you're hearing about from people talking to you in cars? So for those of you guys that are thinking about moving to Northern Nevada, if you're really trying to figure out what's really going on here, don't listen to your cousin Vinny. Don't listen to these crazy stories and things that people who've never actually even been here before. You will like it here. But the whole point of the channel is to give you the truth of what's really going on here. And if there's anything that they're wanting to know, who should they talk to?
They should talk to us.
And find out what's really going on here. So what we really would enjoy is if there's any other weird, crazy myths or things you've heard about Northern Nevada and the Reno Sparks kind of area. We'd love to hear what you've heard, and we'll answer those questions for you. No problem. So if you're thinking about moving to Northern Nevada, do me a favor. Check out this video we did right here about the things you absolutely need to know before you come.